I'm here with Ryan Pineda, one of the biggest and most successful entrepreneurs in the United States and potentially Canada soon. Ryan, how do you feel like about Canada being part of the US?
I mean, if it happens, that'd be really crazy. Do Canadians even want us? Well, I mean, I used to live in Canada. So my first year I got drafted by the Oakland A's. I went to Vancouver and played there for a year. And then in 2014, I lived in Winnipeg and played there for a year. So I love Canadians, and it'd be cool to bring it all together.
Ryan, since you founded multiple businesses from 0 to 8 figures, what is it that you're focusing on right now?
Well, I've been in lots of different industries. Real estate's always been like my bread and butter, but I've tried lots of things. And as I've grown in my journey, I've realized that it's easier to just go deeper in one thing. And so everything I'm doing today is related to real estate now. And so, we got different verticals of things we do, right? I mean, I'll go invest and flip houses and wholesale, but, we're here at my mastermind right now. So we do education, but, we've also started doing lead generation. We do hard money lending now. We have softwares. And so just really figuring out how to make real estate investors' lives easier.
What is the most amount of money you've made in a single year?
In revenue, not counting like the actual house flip revenue, because like if you look at the purchase price of a house and the sale price, technically it counts as revenue. I could be like, oh, we sold $20 million worth of real estate. That's $20 million worth of revenue. But the profit was $1 million or $2 million. So I kind of just look at it in that way of just like, what's the profit? So I think on a gross profit standpoint across all my businesses in any given 1 year, it was like 15 to 20 million.
What is a skill that you believe every entrepreneur should master to achieve success?
Well, I think most entrepreneurs are naturally gifted at sales because you got to sell stuff. That's what being an entrepreneur is. So if you can't sell, then no revenue would have came in. And so I think sales would be the number one skill. And then after that, learning marketing so you can get more leads to sell to. So in my mind, marketing is more important than sales because that's how you scale. But sales is what gets a business off the ground.
Other than sales and marketing, is there a skill that you didn't have at the beginning, but you wish you had it, and how do you eventually learn it?
I wish I was a better marketer in the beginning because I'm a very good marketer today, and I see what it does for all my businesses. So that would have been a skill I would have probably worked on earlier. But yeah, I think social media is just kind of like in that box of marketing. So, getting good at social media the last few years has benefited my business tremendously. But, if I would have been good at sales or marketing and social media 10 years ago, then that would have been great.
What is your simplest advice you would give someone who's afraid of taking the first step to start a business?
Don't be afraid. I don't know how else to say it. A lot of guys are so scared to take a risk. And they're scared because they might fail, right? You are going to fail. That's the thing that people don't realize. It's a different mentality when you say, no, you're actually going to fail. When you start this business, you're going to fail. It's like, well, why would I start a business? Well, it's because failure is what leads to success. You have to fail in order to succeed. It's a prerequisite. It's not this, oh, I bat 1,000 and I never lose. It's, oh man, I keep failing and failing and failing till I find the thing that works. And when you find the thing that works, then you just do a lot more of it over and over again. So I think that people who are scared always are scared to fail, and just change your mindset and say, no, I am going to fail, and that's good. That means I'm getting closer to success.
What is one daily habit that keeps you aligned with your goals and your values?
Yeah, for me, it's my morning routine. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. I wake up around 5 and 6, just depends on the day. And, I spend the first hour with God. I read my Bible, I pray, I memorize scripture. I use my Wealthy Way app to journal, and then I go work out for an hour. And by doing those two things, especially during the weekdays, I'm good.
What is your approach to staying authentic when it comes to your personal life and your business?
Yeah, I think that being authentic is something that you have to just do all the time. Too many people are, I don't want to say two-faced, but that's just the best way to put it. Hey, I'm one way when I'm with my family. I'm another way at business. I'm another way on social media. I'm another way with this group of friends. I'm this way when I'm at church. It's like, dude, you can't be all these different things. You should be able to be who you authentically are at all times. And if there's something you're ashamed of in different settings, then change it about your life. Don't be thinking that I have to hide some things from certain people. That means that you probably shouldn't be doing that thing.
What is your strategy in staying motivated when you face doubt or failures?
Yeah, it just goes back to knowing that failure is going to happen. And so failure actually motivates me. Motivates me more. I'm like, oh, that didn't work. Let's try a new thing. Let's try a new thing. Oh, that worked. Awesome. And then we'll go run it and it'll keep working and working and working. And then guess what? It won't work again because something happens. Something changes in the economy, with the ad, with the people, with whatever, right? And so we fail again. And it just keeps me motivated to keep doing more and doing new things.
I've seen how passionately you talk about faith and belief. How do you think those two principles played a big role in your life and in your business?
Well, I grew up a Christian, and so faith has always been a big part of my life, but it's really amplified the last couple of years. I just felt like God had been calling me to be more bold, to step out even more, to incorporate it into everything we do, right? And it goes back to even me getting more authentic. He's like, hey, why aren't you talking about me at these big events? Why aren't you speaking about me as much on a podcast or whatever the case is? And it's like, yeah, I shouldn't treat the events or the podcast or anything different. I should just live my life how I've been living it. And if people are offended by it, it's all good, right? So it just became a level of conviction. And honestly, faith is what keeps me grounded with all of this, because I just know that life is short. Eternity is way longer than our time on earth. And so when I look at a problem while we're here on earth, right? We lose money on a deal. Somebody quits. Somebody says some crap about me. It's so small when you look at it in the span of eternity. Am I really going to remember I lost money on this deal? Am I really going to care that this guy said this thing about me? Am I really am I going to let this lawsuit mess with my head? No, because it seems so small when you compare it to eternity.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be and how would you use it in your business?
Yeah, dude, I was a big fan of anime and comics and all these things growing up. Dragon Ball Z is my favorite show. I still actually watch all the Dragon Ball stuff. I still watch a lot of anime, actually, surprisingly. So I always love the flying and the Kamehamehas and powering up and all that stuff. So if I could just do that stuff, that's what I'd want to do. But if I was looking at a useful skill, because it's not useful for business, I guess if I was an entertainer and I could fly, then that's pretty useful. But if I was looking for the best business skill, it would probably be having time travel, because then I could just go back in time and do everything perfect. I could just go and buy Bitcoin. I could go buy Tesla. I could just go dump every dollar into this certain thing, not invest in certain things, and my business would be amazing.
One book you believe that changed your life, and two books that you recommend everyone to read.
Yeah, so one book that changed my life it's always changing my life, right? So, certain books at different points in my life have dramatically changed the direction. So the easiest one is the Bible. The Bible has changed my life more than anything. It's the thing I read every single day without fail. And so there's just so much wisdom, and every time I read it, it's looking through it and through a new lens of where I'm at in my life. And so it never gets old. There's nothing that has changed my life more than the Bible. As far as two books I would recommend to people, obviously the Bible, but I'll give two other books. One book is a faith-based book, Driven by Eternity. So for those of you who don't want to read the whole big Bible and not really understand what it means, Driven by Eternity by a guy named John Bevere has really kind of changed my thought process. And so I think it's really good for everyone to read, especially if you're not really sure what happens when life ends. It's an important question people need to answer. And then the second one, for a business book, I would say, for me at this stage, one of the business books that really got me thinking differently is a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And it's essentially this idea that it's easy to 2X, or it's not easy, but if you want to go 2X your business, it's essentially a very simple answer. Just do more. If you just do more of what you're doing, you'll 2X probably. But if you want to 10X your business, you have to change the whole business, because you can't just do 10 times more. It's essentially changing your entire strategy and thinking differently of how would you 10X it. And this is kind of similar to what Grant Cardone's been saying for a long time with 10X. It's I want to think 10 times as big, not because I'm just being a dreamer and all this, but because it'll make me think about solving the problem differently. And so, for me, I've been thinking about solving problems in a 10X way now.
Thank you so much for doing the interview.